Hi friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you. Today I want to demonstrate a couple of ways to use these metallic enamel effects. I am going to show you how to make some pearls basically, and then use it to do some outlining and designing on a card as well. I've been having a little bit of fun with these. I've got the basics, and so this is gold, copper, and silver. There's 3 bottles that come in this package. And you can use these directly onto cardstock, although what I'm doing is making little dots and pearls on my silicone mat. You'll see that in a minute because I started some of these yesterday. I find it helps to kind of let them dry for several hours. I did some of these last night, and you'll find when you start to play with this, it looks like they're kind of pointy, but they do settle down and become more rounded as they dry. So you'll see that in what I'm working with. So let me flip my camera down to my work area here today. I am going to be using the beautiful bokeh suite. So I've got some designer paper here. I'm going to use that in a minute. And I'm going to use some of the stamps out of the beautiful butterflies set. But first of all, what I want to do, I'm going to set this aside, is play some more. So you can see I've already done some silver, I've done some gold, and I've played with the copper. The copper do seem to want to stay just a little bit more pointy, but I'll show you. Just give it a little squeeze and I drop it onto my mat. They do look a little pointy when you start, and I was worried about that, but I find that they did settle down because you can see these other dots here are definitely more rounded like we would expect. The fun thing is you can make these as big or as little as you like. Let's see if I can do a couple really little ones. So you could make tiny little dots. That could be fun for like flower centers if you're decorating, you know, on your cardstock. I'm going to do a big one or a couple of big ones here. And then I'm going to just let this sit, and I'm actually going to move it aside and let it dry. And you can see how the color changed too. So as these dried, they're not as opaque looking. They get more shiny. And then I find when I want to use them that I can either pick them up with my take your pick tool. Now that that's loose, you know, I can move it around. I have found that using the other end, it makes it much easier to place them. What I was doing, yeah, it's stuck on my fingernail. It's over here. What I was doing was making sure that they were right side up and then touching it so that I could pick it up and then putting it down on a dab of glue. That's how I was moving them once I had made some of these pearls. So they're pretty easy to handle once they are dry. So I'm going to move this aside for right now and then start playing using the same product but in another way. So what I've done is I've got I picked this piece of cardstock and I had to decide which side to use because it's really pretty either way you look at it. And I think I'm going to go this direction. So my card base is Calypso Coral because it coordinates with this. And then I went, you know, a couple shades darker in my cardstock, and this is Cajun Craze. So the 2 colors that I've been stamping with are both Calypso Coral and Cajun Craze. What I want to do first is just some simple stamping on my paper. And I die cut a shape out of the Something Fancy. I wanted something kind of small. So I've got 1 shape die cut here. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that, and I'm going to do it in the Cajun Craze on the Calypso Coral. And I'm going to make this into a birthday card. So for right now, it's just going to say birthday wishes. I thought about embossing this, like heat embossing. But just decided let's keep this part simple because it's going to get pretty elaborate before I'm done. So I'm going to close my, no, I still need that. My Cajun Craze, I'm going to close. I'm going to open. It's the Calypso Coral I'm going to set aside. I did go ahead and stamp inside, again, out of this beautiful butterfly set. Time to Celebrate was stamped in the same thing, Cajun Craze, and then the butterflies Calypso Coral. So I'm putting that on the inside of the card, and I'll adhere that in just a minute. Now, I've got 2 different butterfly stamps, and these are the smaller butterflies. So what I'm going to do is put this little side view of the butterflies if it's kind of flying off the page. I'll just line those up over there for cleanup in a little bit. And now, again, I'm inking up in Calypso Coral. I'm going to put one up here and then another one down here. I'm leaving a little bit of space because once I get this matted, I do want to be able to put my sentiment on there. So now I'm done with the Calypso Coral. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to start putting these loose pieces together. Let me put the insert inside my card, and then I'm going to go ahead and mount this onto that frame. And it's just for me to have something more stable to work with. And then I'm going to use my metallic enamel effects. Okay, so this is going inside the card like this. I'm trying to line it up, mat it evenly. Okay, so that's there. And now I'm going to put this together because that way when I need to let it dry, I can move this whole thing. It'll be a little sturdier rather than having the paper kind of flexing or as I set it aside. So I could use the Stamp and Seal, and I just grabbed my liquid glue because it's just right here beside me. And I'm going to go ahead and put pretty much an even border on both sides. So now I've got something a little sturdier to handle. Okay, and I won't be able to fully assemble this, I don't think. I will have to, although, you know, I haven't tried this yet. I could assemble it and then start. That's what I'm going to do. My husband's knocking at me to come outside, and he doesn't know I'm videoing. So let me tell him I'm busy right now. So let me go ahead and adhere this, and then I'll get fancy. Again, this is just going to give me something to support this. Okay, now, here we go. I'm going to add some shimmer and some depth to some of these butterflies. So I'm going to start at the top and work my way down so I can't, you know, run my hands into it. And I'm just going to fill in some of these butterfly wings. So let me get this flowing, and you just kind of squeeze it out and draw it where you want it, and it's going to give you some texture. So I'm just going to dot in parts of these wings and give it some shimmer and shine. So let's do up here, and I think I'm going to do all the butterflies a little bit different. So I'll do that. I'm going to do this piece here. And you see it's just filling in. It pretty much stays where you put it. So it's not like it's running. And I'm going to try to flatten this out so that it's nice and even. Maybe at the bottom here too. Put a swirl in there. Okay, so let me do something different on this one. I'm going to fill in here. And you see, I'm trying to kind of keep it even, you know, match both sides. And this big section right here. I know the butterflies aren't exactly mirror images, and you know, that's fine. I'm just going to play with this a little bit, add some shimmer and shine. There we go. Where else do I want this? It might be enough. You know, you can do too much. We've all been there where we just get carried away. So I'm trying not to overdo. Okay. So now this, I would set this aside for at least an hour just to let it dry. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and add my sentiment here where it's going to go, so that at least you'll have an idea what this finished card is going to look like. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to pick it up, but since I already attached it to the card base, I will be able to pick it up. I just won't keep it upright for too long in case it would want to run. I'm going to put this on here. And the last thing I'm going to do, and I could put ribbons or something under there, is I'm just going to delicately add a little wink of Stella on here and some of the rest of these sections of the butterfly wings, and a little on the body there. I'm just, this is just going to have a lot of shimmer when you pick it up. So I'm doing this in coppery colors. Now the copper would look pretty too, but the Cajun Craze comes along as, it looks kind of coppery now that it's on there. So for right now, I think I'm done with this. So let me show you the finished result here. Birthday wishes, that came from Simply Said, time to celebrate. I'll show you another version I did when I first played with this, and I used blues. So this is Balmy Blue. This is, again, some of the bokeh paper, but I used the other, dotted side. And then did 3 butterflies, and I used the silver enamel effects. And this is dry. This is solid now. And then inside the card's just a note. So it's really a thinking of you card. So 2 very different because of the colors. But you see how easy, it's just 1 piece of paper, and then I have added, look at the shimmer and shine on there. Added all those effects with the metallic effects. Now what I will probably do is, instead of adding bling, I will, on both of these cards, in fact, let me do it right now. I'm going to put a couple, I'll start with the one that's dry. So I'm going to put a couple of glue dots on here and then transfer, maybe over here, transfer 3 of these. I'm going to loosen them first. It helps to have the right end. Get these loose. 1, 2. Well, if that's already loose, I'm going to go ahead and move it and then tap it in place. Now the glue, luckily, will dry clear. I'll give that a, sometimes I even tap it with the other end of my Take Your Pick tool. And so now I need 1 more. But that was the idea, was to use the enamel effects for decorating. I can get some of that glue off there, as well as adding the little bit of bling. So now I have added, and I wish I should have flipped the camera when I was doing that. I was picking them up and moving them onto my card with my Take Your Pick tool. So I was using both ends. I got them loose with the pointed end, and then used the sticky end to go ahead and pick them up and transfer. So like I said in the beginning, playing with enamel effects gives you a very different look to your card. You can draw with it, you can write with it. I thought I was going to play with trying to write the word hello on one of these sentiments, but I'm not going to do that today. So thanks for joining in today. Hopefully this was something new to you. I've just started playing with this recently, so it's been a lot of fun. If you like the products and the projects that you see here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. And I am on the Stampin' Up! Network. It's Renee Keese at stampinup.net. So thank you for joining. Stay tuned for the next video.